Okay, good morning everybody in New Zealand, good evening everybody in Ireland. So thanks for joining us this morning for the pre-match press conference ahead of Ireland versus, ahead of Ireland versus New Zealand tomorrow morning in New Zealand and obviously tomorrow night over in Ireland. So we're joined by Chris Woods, captain, and Simon Elliot, assistant coach, ahead of the game. So what we'll do is we will go around everybody. If everybody could ask one question at a time, that'd be awesome. And then if we've got any time left at the end, we'll go back to the start and we'll start from there. So to kick things off, Simon and Chris, what are you hoping to see from the team ahead of tomorrow's game against Ireland?
Well, we're looking for a good performance, obviously. I think the team has gained some really good experience the last few windows. Building nicely together. We've seen progressions. Obviously, we haven't seen as much progression as we would like in terms of scorelines. We're looking to change that tomorrow.
And Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things. It's a 4-year process we're building at the moment, but we need to start turning performances into wins as well as that. We are playing top oppositions. It's as much as about learning as about winning at the same time at the moment, because come the World Cup, if we're fortunate enough to get there, we'll be playing these top oppositions, and you need to be ready for that. So it's a bit of balance of finding the right performance, the good performances of breaking these big teams down, but also winning games at the same time at the same possible moments.
Awesome. So we'll hand over to you guys now. If you aren't asking a question, please could you just mute your mic and then just obviously unmute for when you want to ask a question. Okay, over to you guys.
Hi guys, Andrew Vorman from Stuff here. I hope you're doing well. Simon, just sort of going back to March when you first came in, what are some of the areas where you have seen progress over the course of this year?
I think autonomy is important, right? I think when you come into a new environment, you have to sort of be a little bit humble about it and just try and listen and see what the areas are that you can help from an individual perspective, and then obviously you have to pan out a little bit as part of a coaching staff and make sure that you're addressing more areas than just sort of the individual needs. I think we've seen, or I've seen, the way the players interact, some of the input that they're having into the process, I think is very, very important. Helps build trust, helps build cohesion. Like we say, we've seen progression, but we'd like to see results as well. So, overall, I think it's been pretty pleasing.
Right, cool, thank you.
Next question, please.
Hey Chris, Sullivan here from News Hub. I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on maybe the team in general. I mean, you played against Ireland in 2019 in that 3-1 loss, but how much has this team grown and changed as a group with it getting a lot younger? And I guess how much have you been better for that over the last 3 years going into this match tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think back then was quite a few of the lads' first couple of tours. I remember it was Callum McCallott's first goal, I'm pretty sure, in that sense. So we were a very young squad back then, and ever since then they've come on and probably played around about 20 caps now. So they're getting the experience which is needed, especially from a relatively young group. So it's great to see the progress going through. But now we're starting to build into these players being fully fledged internationals now, not just prospects when they started in 2019. So it's about stepping forward and now showing it on the biggest stage.
Thank you.
G'day, Chris. Zion here from TVNZ. Just what you were talking before about it being a 4-year process and I guess finding ways to win. Just something a little bit different. I guess there's growing talk of a second A-League team in Auckland, in New Zealand. I guess from someone who's doing so well in the English League, how beneficial do you think that an A-League team, a second A-League team in New Zealand will benefit this team and I guess football in this country?
Look, I think ultimately it will benefit football in the country hugely. Another pathway for players to come through and get into the professional environment. I think it's going to be top quality for years to come in all weights in the future. So that's only fantastic. In the near future, I'm sure some of the boys will be open to being back there playing in a top league again or in the A-League and things like that. So it opens avenues to keep people playing, and then it will get them closer to the New Zealand and New Zealand fans, and hopefully building that brand and that cohesion between the fans and the players and going from there.
Thanks, mate. Go well. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Hey guys, Clay from News Talk CB here. Chris, you mentioned about results against bigger teams, and in terms of European teams, I guess historically, the All Whites haven't had a lot of matches against European teams. What is different about facing them, and I guess what are the challenges you've got to overcome in trying to get those results you're after?
Well, yeah, we're coming up against teams that are ranked 50 places above us in the world rankings. If we were just worrying about results, we'd go take teams in and around us or below us in the rankings in that sense. But we want to challenge ourselves and we want to get better, and we believe that playing these top oppositions is the way to go about it. You learn more playing against these big oppositions and trying to break them down, trying to enhance your own game and skills to take it to the next level, which is ultimately the World Cup. So I think this process is right, the way we're doing it. Ultimately, we want to see more wins. Playing in Europe is probably one of the toughest confederations around the world. So, yeah, we haven't had many positive results in history, but we'd like to change that and add to the ones that we have had.
Chris Barry, guy from Radio New Zealand Sport in Wellington. You and Simon both talked about progression, scoring goals and getting wins. As far as scoring goals is concerned, everyone looks at you, but what does this team, is there something lacking? What do you want to see more of, perhaps, to get goals and then hopefully get wins?
I think we just need to keep building. I think we've done extremely well defensively in the most cases. Obviously, sometimes we've let in some sloppy goals, but we can easily solve that. Our problem has been finishing, and we know that as a playing group, as a striking unit. We talk about it and we look to work on ways to get better and ultimately bring it out on the pitch. But ultimately, we just need to keep progressing, keep trying the things that we're working on in training, trying to bring out the moves that we try, and ultimately taking our chances when we get them. We have been getting chances. We've had some clear opportunities or some half chances, and it's about taking those and having a bit more luck in front of goal.
And Simon, what do you expect from Ireland? I see they've made a few changes from playing the Netherlands at the weekend. Also, I saw on their website they've sold 41,000 tickets to this game apparently. So what are you expecting from Ireland and the occasion, perhaps?
I think it'll be a great occasion. Obviously, one of the big moments will be celebrating 100 caps or over 100 caps actually. And the last game for McLean, he's obviously had a great career in the Irish jersey, and so hopefully the fans celebrate that in the right way. I think it's been a tough qualifying campaign for them. Obviously, they'll be disappointed with that, but they're a bunch of good pros, and they'll be out to satisfy the home fans, if nothing else. So, echoing Woodsy's comments, really, tough game, European opposition. We need to be a little more clinical in both boxes. It's exactly the kind of challenge we want, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Hey guys, John Day here from MediaWorks. Chris, just wondering about the confidence in the squad when you play high quality opposition and you don't get the results you want. What does that do for the confidence in the squad, and how do you keep that high?
Well, I think it comes down to personal basis. I think everybody's different in how they deal with runs like this or how they go out on the pitch. I see the long-term process. Luckily, that's probably because I'm a bit more experienced in that sense. Don't get tied down on the individual games and things like that if it doesn't work our way. But yeah, I think we have a good bunch, we have a good group, and we're all together, which is the main thing. There's been obviously some games where we haven't won or haven't done too well, but all the boys have stuck together and continue to work and continue to get stronger, and that's the main thing.
Cool. Cheers.
Chris, we saw you off at half-time against Greece. Are you going to be able to go a bit longer tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It's one of those. I'm coming back from injury. It's one of those. I want to play as long as I can for my national team. I love being a part of it and love to try and help and win games for this team. But also when I do come off and things like that, it gives other people opportunity to stake the claim for the number 9 jersey. We've got a lot of good strikers here, and they're going to continue to push me for the years ahead.
Simon, can I ask you, obviously been in the role now for a while, in terms of the new group of coaches, how are you sharing those responsibilities around? Who's looking after what, and how are you sort of divvying it up?
Well, I'm on press conferences. I think that's as far as we've got, hasn't it? No, I think one of the things we talk about is sort of shared leadership, and that involves the players as well. I think from an individual perspective, doing something a little different like this is can be helpful. It's not always an assistant coach that gets to do this, but it's nice to sort of do it every once in a while, right? Just gives you a different type of experience and different insight to being part of the group and part of the staff. I think the roles and responsibilities are pretty well established, but we want to keep refining those. I mean, away from the training ground, we're sort of upstairs working away on how we can sort of get better at various things. There's a preview process, and then there's a review process that we want to put in place after every window, so that we as a staff can get better. But obviously, it's making sure that we're communicating with the players, getting input from them, and that we're helping Bays to sort of implement what it is that he wants for this window, for the next window, and so on, building up to the World Cup.
Simon, Sullivan here from News Hub. I know Chris answered the question before, but maybe just wanted to get your thoughts on the potential for another expansion team into the A-League from potentially Auckland. Just your thoughts on, I guess, the benefits that would have for football here in New Zealand.
Yeah, I think Woodsy covered it pretty well. To be honest, it's so most of what I say will echo his comments, but I think it's great for the city. It's great for the country. The more professional players that we can get playing in a good league like the A-League benefits them. Obviously, it benefits the national team, creates a broader base, makes things more competitive within the squad. So I can't see any downside, to be honest. I think it's fantastic, and looking forward to that team coming in and being competitive from day one.
Chris, can I just ask, you mentioned about the young players, and a lot of them were sort of on their first tour last time you were in Ireland, but a lot of them are getting quite a bit of praise and attention now, some of them playing in quite big leagues. Do you have to do any work in terms of keeping their feet on the ground and keeping them working, and if so, what does that involve from a senior player's perspective?
No, thankfully we've got actually a really good group. I think Kiwis are very down-to-earth, very grounded people. They take everything in their stride, and especially this group of players. They know they're doing great things at the club, doing well and progressing up the leagues, and they just want to go into bigger and better things, but they know the hard work has to continue for them in their club football. Showing it on the international stage will help, but also when they go back to the club, they need to keep progressing, because ultimately they want to get to as high as they can. They want to be playing in the top leagues and the top teams around the world, and just going from there. So we've never had to deal with anybody being too big for anybody, because that's not the type of group we have. We have a tight-knit group, a group that respects each other, and that's the main thing, and that's what you find from every lad in here.
Chris, hey, it's John here from the Irish Media. Can I ask you a question, if you don't mind?
Of course.
Just tomorrow, there's a prospect of you coming up against Andrew Ombabadelli. What have you made of him since he's come to Forest?
Look, he's done extremely well. I know he's unfortunate. He hasn't been able to get any opportunities of yet, but he is a bright talent, a young lad, but he's a good player. He's a very hard worker. He gets stuck in, and he's technically very good. So as a centre-half, he's a good player. I know he's got a bright career ahead of him, and hopefully that is at Forest, doing extremely well. But I know he has to wait for his chance at the moment. Hopefully he'll come sooner rather than later, I'm sure, for his perspective. But it'll be nice if I'm playing up against him tomorrow, because he's a good lad.
Great, thanks.